Hello, everyone. Hi. Hello, I can't hear you. Can everyone put their microphone on and video on, please? Hi, I cannot see you. Hi. Hi. Videos. This is fantastic. Hi, everyone. Hi, Shania.
Hi,
Adrian.
sir.
Hi, Wei Chong. Hi, Shanyao. Emily. Hi, Zuchi. Xian Chen. Love the picture of Putin. But do you have your video? Do you have a video on? And Hazil? We had fun. We had fun yesterday. We had 4 tutorials yesterday, and yours is the 5th. But, you know, by the time we get to yours, we have ironed out all of the cracks and creaks in the tutorials. And so this one is bound to be a fantastic one. Can you all hear the drilling going on in my house? Can you hear that?
Yeah, we can.
Is it very loud?
No.
Okay, all right. So make sure the microphone's close to my voice, so therefore my voice compared to the drilling is obviously I've got my headphones on because it's fun. Anyway, but that's apartment living, right? Isn't it? Like, you know, I'm on the 38th floor of an apartment in Hong Kong, and it's fun. But I am coming back to Malaysia, so watch out when I do. Okay? We're going to have fun. We're having fun today. And thank you for putting your videos on. And Hui Ling, have you got your video? Bowie, Jeffrey, can I see you? Hi, can you just say hello this morning? I got lots of energy here, so I need your energy. It helps me to breathe. Hi, welcome, welcome. All right, we're having lots of fun. And did you all have a good week, by the way? Did everyone have a good week? So just warming up. Okay, this is great. Lovely. All right. So just, you know, the great thing about video, and okay, do you have to have the video on? No, you don't. But does this help you more than me? Yes, it does, because it actually helps prepare you for how you communicate online. And invariably, it may be, if you go for a job interview this year, it will be online. And yes, I know the job interview, you'll put the makeup on and everything, and you'll be very nice for the job interview. But if you don't practice just being expressing yourself online, not as crazy as me, you don't have to do that, then you won't be as prepared for the job interview. And in normal corporate practice, they always have videos on. So there's some good reasons for doing that. What we're looking at today, and this is really, really exciting. By the way, Mazut is doing okay. He's resting at home. And I told him, just please have a break this week and to get better. And it's very important that he gets as much rest as possible. But that doesn't mean that your learning will be compromised, because I'm just so excited about what we're going to cover today. We've got some really, really interesting stuff today, especially we're going to go through the 5 tutorial questions very, very quickly, probably for the first half hour, 40 minutes maximum. Then we're going to have a Kahoot session. Did you know that we're going to do a Kahoot? You've done Kahoot before, right? Yeah. Okay, but my Kahoots are different from the normal Kahoot. Okay, my Kahoots are on steroids. And it's a lightning round, and you've got to be fast. We're going to have lots and lots of fun. And there's some questions that all of you, there's 16 in the call today, have to get it right. Otherwise, I might get fired for failing to teach you. All right. So if you don't do well in Kahoot, then that reflects on me as a teacher. Then I'm not doing my job, and I'll get very disappointed during a Kahoot session. So we had lots of fun yesterday with the Kahoots. The 15 questions. It basically covers all of the content for today that you're learning this week, and we're going to have lots of fun. Now, before we begin, can you all just clap your hands? Hi, welcome, everyone. Sorry, I can't see the others. Come on. It's Friday. It's okay to put the video on for 60 seconds. All right. Even if you have a virtual screen behind you, then you can. Look, I got nothing else to, there's nothing much behind me I can show. But anyway, all right. But we're going to have fun. All right. So let's, we're looking at Diem, and finally, then there's going to be a feedback. I have a feedback form on Google Forms, 4 questions I'll ask you to give feedback on. And the feedback so far has been amazing, especially lots of questions that I will follow up on. So that's lovely. Diem, this is about Diem. And wow, of all the, do you know what Diem means? Diem, why did they, Diem means Latin. That's the Latin for day. I didn't know that. I was doing my study for this tutorial. I was actually listening to Mark Zuckerberg's presentation to Congress, his grilling. I was listening to other podcasts on how Diem changed from Libra and all of that. Okay, so let's, great. Hazil, thank you for your comment on that. And let's keep moving. Most regulators, let's have a look at question one. Question one. Most of the regulators seem to be against Diem. Do you think, what do you think are the main reasons for that? Okay, so let's move quickly on this. What do you think? And I don't know what Mazit does in calling out names, but if I think you know what to say. So who would like to kick this off? What are some of the reasons for regulators being against Diem? Okay.
Sir, maybe I start first?
Yes, please. Absolutely.
Okay. I think most regulators against Diem is because Diem has high possibility to replace the government currencies, which means that replace the role of central banks. So if Diem really works, which means that the central bank can't impose any monetary policy to affect the economy's movement. Yeah, so this is what I think. They won't
Absolutely.
allow their competitors.
And what's, you'd think, great answer, but the great thing about remembering an answer is there a word that you can put behind that answer. And then normally the best way your memory works is if you can remember that word, then you can remember the answer. Wow. So everyone, what's a good word that could be used to summarize what Wei Hong just said about it unsurfing the currency, the state currency, whether it's the Chinese yuan, Malaysian ringgit, Singapore dollar, US dollar, etc. A key word.
Fiat currency?
If I take something away from you, what am I taking from you? I'm taking power away from you, power. Okay, so a key thing is the power. They don't want to lose their power and being the, and with that power becomes the nation's identity, because the nation's identity is, or surround, the nation's identity is surrounding that, the nation's currency, right? You look at any currency, you've got key figures from your nation's history on the currency. It's, the whole identity of any nation is in its currency. Like, how dare you replace the nation's identity? That's a big thing. Wow. You can steal my car, but don't steal my identity. This is even worse than you just trying to steal some physical good. So power is a big thing. What's another thing why they don't like Diem? Someone else? Well done. Yes.
Because they have, once they have their currency taken away, they have a harder time to, regulators have harder time to balance the economy, because they cannot close the gap between the rich and the poor. The gap between the rich and poor will increase more.
Actually, all right. So what's the key word that describes, or key 2 words that describes this role that you were just talking about?
Gap.
Well, if you were to study economics, the name of the economic course that describes what you're talking about is called public finance. And basically, it's the role of the government to manage the economy and to keep the economy stable, right? You can imagine like Venezuela is out of control. Zimbabwe has been out of control for the last few decades. Germany was out of control in the 1920s. And that's what led to, you know, Hitler coming in, being popularly elected, and then World War II and all of that, right? You know, bad things happen when governments lose control of an economy. And I get to the point of what you're talking about, Emily, that the government has a very important public finance role. And what you're saying is that they are against Diem because it actually undermines part of that role. Does that make sense, Emily? All right. Okay. So can we give another one? Another one? Someone else. All right. Kendra, do you have your video on? Video on, please. Kendra, are you there? Hello. Are you there? Hi, Kendra. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Can everyone wave to Kendra? Everybody, hi. Kendra, don't worry. It's don't be embarrassed or anything like that. Videos, it's just great. I'm here too, and I'm the craziest person with you. So no one, you can never be more embarrassed than me. So don't worry. Kendra, what do you think? What's another reason that regulators may be against Diem?
I'm not entirely sure, but what I put maybe it's because Diem is looking towards being mainly used for remittances, and like the current main like industry for remittances are like the banking industry. So yeah.
All right. So So therefore, who is worried about that? Who cares?
The policy makers, I think.
Why do they care?
Because they have their own Diem association to be like somewhat centralized first. And yeah, so they don't really have proper regulators. They're mostly all like whoever's in the Diem association, like the Diem members.
Okay, everything you're saying is great, Kendra, but you've got to get back to the point of that who is pushing, all right? Facebook is pushing something, right? All right. Do any of you play tennis? Let's have a look. You got to be. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Just finished coaching last week. My tennis ball. Coach tennis. All right. So this is a tennis ball, right? All right. So Facebook is pushing the ball this way, right? Okay. And the regulators are pushing the other way. Okay. And so the question is, why are the regulators not allowing the ball to go this way? All right, they're pushing back. They don't want that ball to go too far. Why don't they want that? And you're saying that part of the reason is that there's remittances and that can be done through this new object, right? But why do regulators want to stop that? Why do they want to stop that happening? That's the question. Because consumers would like it, right? It's good for the consumers, yes or no? Because it's cheaper, right? So why don't the regulators like it?
Because it may be bad for the country, the economy. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, no, think about that. But when you always there's always many different players, right? The ball's been pushed this way by Facebook, regulators this way, and then big tech this way, and then consumers this way. It's always been pushed in different angles all the time. It's not just one way or the other way. There's many different ways of looking at this problem called Diem. Okay. All right. So I think you've got to think in terms of the question is about why regulators are concerned, not why consumers or why the big tech or the banks, it's the regulators. So to summarize so far, what in our discussion, they are concerned because of public finance. They're concerned for the loss of power associated with the identity of the country, associated with their currency. Okay. All right. But you're the one that you put onto, you started mentioning, this Diem could take over the remittances. Okay. So what is a possible problem with that if Diem takes it over? What other nefarious problems can arise if Diem becomes a replacement for a normal currency with remittances that regulators may be concerned about? Someone else? Bowie, are you with us? Hi, Bowie. Hello. Hello. This is my friend. My friend is called Prince. Okay. All right. So Bowie, what do regulators, what else are they concerned with? One more item.
I'm not sure about this.
Okay. What if we're doing, Kendra made a very good point about remittances. So what do you think if you want to secretly send money to someone else and not tell the regulators? You think they'll be concerned about that?
Or something about corruption issue.
Okay, so if you are a corrupt official, how would Diem help you to send money secretly to someone else? Can you do that?
Yes, I think so, because it's not under the control of the government, so they can.
Very good.
Law.
Yeah. So what do we call that? What do we call that problem?
Is it money laundering?
Yes, it's money laundering. I love it. Oh, okay, excellent. It is money laundering. Correct. All right. So they're concerned about money laundering. And Kendra, it's directly related to, you said remittances, but when you say remittances, consumers love cheaper remittances. Okay. Banks don't like it. Regulators don't like it. Banks don't like it because they don't get a transaction fee, but regulators don't like it because of the potential for money laundering. So you guys are doing so great this morning, and sorry picking on some of you, but we get our videos on, we have much more fun together. Excuse me. Just put it on mute for a moment. Hey, Prince, shall we go on to the next question? Okay, Prince says next question. All right, so we have one of our latest members that joined the Diem Association is Temasek. How many of you are aware of Temasek? Okay, Temasek is a Singaporean state-owned investor. Did you know that? So for example, if you go work for the Malaysian government, and part of your work with the Malaysian government is they will take some part of your salary and put it into a pension fund. Then that pension fund is run by a particular government investment arm in Malaysia. I don't know what they call it, but every government in the developed world has an investment arm that looks after the savings and the assets of its people to some extent. So Temasek is the equivalent for Singapore. Okay. Okay. So the question here, and sorry about the noise behind me. Okay. Sorry about noise behind me. All right. Temasek is a Singaporean state-owned investor. And so the big question is, or the big movement is, they became part of the Diem Association. Okay. Diem. Wait a minute. It's not Prince. Let's change his name. Diem. There you go. All right. So, hi. All right. So we've got Diem now. All right. Right, Diem. All right. So Temasek became part of Diem. It's an association that will help to regulate and monitor the circulation because is it a private blockchain or a public blockchain? Private or public? Okay. Is the Diem going to be on a private blockchain or public blockchain?
Public.
Bitcoin is public. Who else
I
says
think
public?
it's private.
Okay, and who else? What do others think? Adrian, what do you think? And public. Adrian, how's your video? Can you give us a quick wave? DM wants to see you. Hi, Adrian. Thank you. All right. So Diem is going to be on a private blockchain. Now, in order to have a private blockchain, you sort of need to have a private network. You need to have some kind of distributed network, but really that you have control over. And that's what the Diem Association is all about. Okay. And so Temasek is becoming part of that. Why did Temasek join that association? That's the big question. Why did they join? Yeah, they're part of you. Yeah. Why did they join? Why did Singaporean state-owned investor join this association?
So they can to spy on their technology.
Oh, that's fun. I like that. That's possible too. You're very good. Of course, they had to pay money to join. Other reasons for why they may join? Jason, what do you think?
Profits, return on investment.
For investment, is that right?
Yeah, profit and investment.
Okay, it could be for an investment strategy. Anyone else? Did you know that the Libra, the basket of currencies which Diem replaced, is a basket of currencies: US dollar, euro, British pound, Japanese yen, okay, and Singapore dollar. Did you hear what I just said? It includes the Singapore dollar, right? Okay, so Singapore dollar is part of the basket of currencies. So it's partly in the interest of Temasek, the Singaporean state-owned investor, to become part of the association. You see that? Because their currency is represented in the Diem. Wow. So you can see that there's a natural incentive, in addition to what Adrian said, to spy and do all these other nefarious activities. We don't know half of what these organizations do we? Okay, to scrub that. All right, let's have a look. If Diem were to be approved, what would be the main benefits? Oh, first of all, let's finish up number 2. Why didn't Apple, Google, or Amazon join the association?
Competition, it reduced their monopoly in the world. I mean, Facebook is taking the monopoly on the world.
Yeah, but why didn't Apple, Amazon, and Google get involved? They did not get involved. They could have joined it, but they chose not to. Why didn't they choose?
Because they want it to be directly under their own control. Like they want to develop their own Diem in a way.
Right. Possible. I want you to
By
think.
doing this, Facebook is monopolizing the industry, like taking over the financial system.
Yeah, but then if I was Apple, Amazon, or Alphabet, then I would put my hand up to become part of the association to make sure that I have some control. So why didn't they do that? That's the question. Why did they say, we're not touching that. We're not touching that. This is just too risky. Why would they ever think that? Humphrey, what do you think? I want you to let me help you. And Vincent, are you with us? Vincent, Humphrey, hi, welcome. And Apple, Amazon, and Google, are they large or are they small companies? Yes or no? Hands up for large. Hands up for large. They're large, right? Good. All right. So what happened to a company last week? A Chinese company last week got fined $2+ more billion US dollars for antitrust alleged practices. Who was that company? Who was that company?
Alibaba.
Alibaba. Yes, Alibaba. Yes, just across the road from me here. All right, just over the yeah. Well, technically, their head office is in Jiangsu, Zhejiang province, south of Shanghai. Okay, they got fined for antitrust practices. Now, is China the only one in the developed world that goes and fines their big companies for antitrust behavior? Hazil, what do you think?
I think you're trying to refer to Facebook's privacy issues. Like they haven't had the best track record. I think that's why companies like Apple and Google, whom, as you said, are
That's very
big
interesting.
companies.
Yeah. So why do you? Okay. So what's okay? Good. All right. So here's, remember, when you're a tutorial, you know, we can talk, and then you go away from there. Oh, okay. What are the key words? That's what you should be asking. What are the key words that help summarize the issues going on? So the key word for what you're talking about, Hazil, is it's all about that reputation. All right, reputation risk, write that down. If I'm associated with Facebook and Facebook is associated with data privacy issues, that means my reputation may go down, it may not go up. But what happened to Alibaba has got nothing to do with being associated with data privacy issues. That was to do with antitrust. So the big point is when you are a large company, there's reputation risk or reputation risk, like Hazil, you talk about that. So that can be risk, how consumers perceive you, how government perceive you, how banks perceive you, how everyone perceives you. That's your reputation risk. But what happened to Alibaba was more regulation risk. What does that mean? Well, what happened to Alibaba's stock price when the regulators announced that they were investigating Alibaba in November last year? The stock price went from, did it go up or go down? Jacob, did it go up or down? Hello? Jacob, are you with us?
Yeah, sorry. Can you repeat the question again?
Jacob, have you got can your video work?
No, my Wi-Fi is a bit very slow. Okay.
No problem. Okay, so what happened? Did Alibaba stock price go up or go down when there was an investigation announced on their antitrust behavior?
It went down.
It went down, right?
Yes.
So was there a fine given to make the stock price go down?
Yeah, a fine was given to.
That was last week, but the announcement of the investigation was in November. The stock price goes from $310 down to $210 over November, December, January, February, March. $210. So they announced the fine last week, and the stock price goes from $220 up to $240. Like, what does that mean? Like this, 1/3 of Alibaba's market cap, 600 billion down to 400 billion because you were under investigation. Okay. All right. But suddenly, now I fine you, it closes the investigation. So now the stock price can go up. So what do markets or financial markets or investors, what are they concerned about? Are they really concerned about the fine or the uncertainty of the outcome? Which is more important? Quick.
Uncertainty.
Exactly. It's the uncertainty. Really well done. It's the uncertainty outcome. So the last thing that Google, Apple, Amazon want to do is create uncertainty around their brand. If they join Diem, it's not like they may get fined or may have to go and answer questions to Congress and all like that. It may be that the US government suddenly announced, oh, we're going to investigate the members of that association. And that investigation could go on for months. It could go on for 6 months, 9 months. What do you think will happen to Google's stock price or Apple's stock price or Amazon's stock price? Do you think it will go up or go down? You'll go down. Why? Because you're under investigation. It doesn't matter about the fine. You know, fine $1 billion. Who cares? I'm a $1 trillion company. Here's some change. All right? The fines don't matter. The fines actually close the investigation. But when you're under investigation, that's the risk. That's reputation risk. That's regulation risk. It's regulation risk. It's being known that you're being targeted by regulators and you don't know how long that's going to go for. Wow. So that's why Apple, Amazon, Google did not want to touch Diem. Diem's telling me to move on. Okay. So we've got number 3. If Diem were approved, what would be the benefits of having it? What are some of the benefits? Let's go around the clock. And Kendra, great contributions. Hazil, well done. Christina, what do you think? What are some of the benefits for you as a consumer if you have one of these? What's the benefit, Christina? Hi.
Increase efficiency, like when compared to Bitcoins.
Well, maybe you don't want to compare it with Bitcoin, but you may want to compare it with currency, right? Because, well, Christina, let's just back up a little bit. Remember what we learned 2 weeks ago was there, and remember everything we're discussing now is going to be in the Kahoot, so pay very close attention, okay? All right, so when we looked at Bitcoin, we always looked at from a point of view of currency, is it a medium of exchange, unit of account, or is it a store of value? So which one did we agree that it's most likely to be associated with? Which one? Hello? Yell it out, everyone. Which one? Bitcoin is a what? Likely to be a medium of exchange? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
No, not really. In order to be a medium of exchange, it has to be really, or what? It has to be?
Less volatility.
It has to be stable, right? It has to be stable. Huh? Okay. But Bitcoin is not stable. Bitcoin is up, right? It's not stable. Bitcoin can go up and down 10% in any week. Huh? So that's not something you want to keep for a medium of exchange. It's more likely it's a store of value if you believe it's going to keep going up because of there's limited supply and things like that, right? Whereas Diem, this Diem is a different animal, okay? Diem is more likely, it's opposite to Bitcoin. So therefore, Diem is likely to be a medium of exchange, store of value, or unit of account. Which one? Hands up for medium of exchange. Hello? Okay. All right. We've got some hands. Excellent. I love that. It's much faster than the digital hand. Diem, you're a good medium of exchange. Diem's very happy. All right. It's a medium. Why is it likely to be a good medium of exchange? Because it is what?
Stable.
It's stable. It's a stable coin, right? It's not supposed to be volatile. Okay. So it may not be a good, it may be a possibly a good unit of account, but may not be a good store of value because you don't get a return on it per se. Okay. They're talking about that in years to come, that will happen. But all right. So it's going to be cheaper and faster transaction because for exchange, Christina, getting back to your point, because it's stable, right? It's stable. All right. And you probably want to compare it with fiat currency rather than with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is more a store of value, whereas it's a volatile coin, whereas this is a stable coin. Ah, wow. Okay. All right. So Adrian, so it's low volatility. It's going to be likely cheaper and faster transactions. And what's another benefit before we go on to number 4? Someone who hasn't. Ishan, what do you think?
I think my answer is actually similar to what I've had said.
Okay.
What I've said, like it's a cheaper and easiest and a faster way of payment, like
Okay.
peer-to-peer payments, and
Right.
also, and because of the disintermediation of the blockchain system that's in a cryptocurrency, and it's also stable
Okay.
as compared to other cryptocurrencies.
Okay. And what about, and one more, this is really, really good. I think you'll go very well in this Kahoot session. What I'm counting on you. And what is one more thing that is a benefit? Now, all of us may not benefit with this benefit because we already have something starting with B, but there's other people in the developing world that do not have an access to a B. So what is another benefit of this coin?
Is it exposures to the unbanked population?
Correct. Exact. Jason, you're spot on. That is excellent. And Jason, you better do well in the Kahoot because there's a question about that too. All right. So the unbanked population. Now, why do you think the Diem is useful for the unbanked population? Jason?
Because it offers digital payment exposures and they don't need to make a bank account in order to get this exposure. So
listen up everyone, do they need to have a bank account? Yes or no? Jason, does that mean no?
Yeah, no.
Sorry, you just said yes, no. Sorry, go on.
No, if they use Diem, then they don't need a bank account.
Excellent. You do not need to have a bank in order to use Diem. Wow. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about the big concern of regulators around the world. We mentioned earlier money laundering, and Bowie, you're talking about corruption and how they could actually hide stuff and nefarious activities. And so what are banks doing around the world to try and tighten up of money laundering? Humphrey, what do you think? What are banks doing? It starts with K. Starts with K. Humphrey, hi. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. What are banks doing? Okay, that's fine. Anyone else? Banks are, how many of you have opened a bank account in the last 12 months? Anyone? Yeah. And Wei Hong, did you have to do a lot of documentation?
Yes, they're not allowed like you go to open a bank account for no reason. You need employment letter, offer letter, or a letter from your university.
Absolutely. And then ID, another ID, another ID, another ID, because they want to make sure that Wei Hong is Wei Hong, that Wei Hong is who he says he is. That's called write this down. That's called know your customer. And that's KYC. This is a really, really, really big area. And it is also a big area in fintech regulations where startups will just start up and then their whole business model is to create technology to help people do what Wei Hong had to do in the bank. That is, the Wayong can come in and then click a button, and then all his documentation are supplied to the bank automatically. So there's startups out there that actually do that. But banks are really the agents of regulators around the world to actually stop money laundering through this KYC. Did you know that the G20 are all sharing together their data about you? Did you know that? Did you know that that the Hong Kong government can contact Malaysian government and actually get information about you if you have had some business in Hong Kong or Malaysia, vice versa? They can do that now. That's an agreement. At this stage, it's actually at the company level. What do I mean? Under the common reporting standard, that is a common reporting standard agreed to by the G20. That is, all companies in the G20 developed world, when they do their annual reports, any member of that G20 can go to one of the other members and ask for those reports. And that's how they're trying to stop money laundering. Now that filters down from companies down to individuals. Now they're asking banks in all of the G20 that, oh, if you want to be a bank, then you have to do KYC on everyone that opens up an account. And if you don't know the customers that have opened your account, then you need to close those accounts. Wow. And if the banks don't do that, then they close their bank license. Wow, sounds like Big Brother, doesn't it? Wow. Ooh, wow, this is crazy, crazy, crazy. But anyway, and so that's why, you know, this whole idea of fintech and financial inclusion and the unbanked is just, it's so important for the developing world. It's not, you know, the developed world, they look at this and they think, well, we've already got the banks. The banks are already doing our KYC. You know, the last thing we want is something to come along and to bypass the banks, money laundering, things like that. They don't want that. Anyway, let's keep moving. We're going to play a Kahoot, but we've covered many, many things in our discussion just now. Like, let's just summarize a few ideas I want you to take away, and the Kahoot will help you even more. You know, regulators are concerned by data privacy. They're concerned by money laundering. They're concerned by the power. And Emily, we talked about that with you, where it's all about the government's role of the public financing role. More recently, I talked about, well, Facebook is kind of on its own, and you've had the other big technology players say, no, we don't want to be part of this because of what was the type of risk I mentioned? Why didn't Apple, Google, Amazon join the Diem association? Because of what type of risk?
Uncertainties.
Yeah, uncertainty.
Reputation.
Uncertainty associated with what regulators will do. And then we call that regulation what? Regulation risk. Like what happened to Alibaba, not the fine, but the 5 months leading up to the fine. And that uncertainty just made the stock price just go down. All right. And so no big company wants to be under a cloud of uncertainty. The big companies, they can always pay the fines. They don't care about the fine. They'd prefer to be, oh, you're going to investigate me today. Can you fine me tomorrow, please, so we can get on and do our business? No, but what normally happens is an investigation is launched and then the fine may happen 6 months later. But during that time, investors don't even want to touch your stock. So that's reputation, that's regulation risk. Okay. And then even Hazel, you talked about reputation risk, and that is where Apple or Google is on the nose of any other stakeholders, including consumers and banks and so forth. Finally, would Diem be a complementer, enhancer, or disruptor for the existing players? Of course, for the banks, it's going to be is it going to be a complementer or a disruptor? Which one?
Disruptor.
A disruptor. I love that. Absolutely. It's going to be a disruptor. Why? Because Diem does not need a what? Because Diem does not need a
Bank
What?
account.
It doesn't need a bank. Exactly. It doesn't need a bank. And earlier, I think it was Jacob. Was it Bowie, Tandy, or Jacob? You said, I don't know, to one of my questions. Is that right? Who said that? Jacob. Did you say that?
Yeah. Yes, I might have.
Yeah, which is fine. I want to say that is good. It's okay that you say you don't know. We're going to play Kahoot very, very quickly. And then I'm going to tell you a short story about what happened when I got a job at Monash. And I actually said something along what you said. And I want to encourage you. Is it graded? Do you want it to be graded? Vincent, do you want it to be graded? No. All right, let's have fun. But this is to help you understand. All right, this is not graded, but I'm telling Mazet, I think in the future we should make these graded and have even 10 times more fun. It'll be fun. All right, but we just need to. It's not graded, Vincent. So don't worry. Have fun. All right, and it's okay if you don't know. So let's have a look. Let's get this Kahoot. Let's get this. Are you ready to Kahoot? Yes or no? I didn't hear you. Are you ready to Kahoot? Yes or no?
No.
Yes.
Right. Let's thanks, maybe later. Let's get this moving here and have some fun. Remember, I told you all the answers, so you should do very, very well. Okay, let's digital. Remember, and you'll get to compare your performance with all the other tutorials performances, because we've got everyone that has performed. And some of the top players got 11,000, 12,000 points. All right, it's creating a pin, and I'm going to type the pin into the chat room. Is that okay? Remember, at the end, I need you to give feedback and how we're going to go. This is going to take about 13 minutes. We're going to go very, very fast. We'll finish on the hour, so stay with me. 9, 3, 9, 4, 1, 8, 6. Okay. Okay, we have 20 participants. We want 20 in Kahoot. I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to read out every question. We're going to have lots of fun. And you've got 20 seconds to go. If you answer it faster, you get more points. Are you ready, Ski Daddies? Are you ready? Yes or no?
Yes.
Come on, let's move this thing. All right,
Yay.
come on. All right, we've got 15. Let's get 20 on here. Don't use a pseudonym, because if you, someone's put in my name. Thank you very much. You better answer all the questions correctly. All right. But pseudonyms, let me be able to identify you at the end. I want to know that you're on the top of the leaderboard, and it's good to know that you're doing well. Okay. So, but it's not going to be graded officially, but we want to know that you are doing well. Okay. That all helps. 16. We got 3 more, 4 more. We want 4 more. Come on, join. Bowie's just joined. Well done. Jeff, you're in. Knee girl. Excellent. Mining glass. And yes, this is going to be a great day. Are you ready? Let's flex our muscles. Let's go. Look, let's flex our muscles here. Okay, relax. Adrian, we got 19. We got 1 more. Then we can start. Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's start. And we're ready to go. Let's ready. Ski Daddies, let's go. Digital wallets. 3, 2, 1. First question. Which of the following is the reason most of the regulators seem to be against Diem? Let's move this one. 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. 3 answers. Eight answers. Some of you are struggling if you haven't got an answer. Oh, data privacy issues. Remember, data privacy. His son, you mentioned that, and that's why people didn't want to touch it too because they didn't want to have that reputation risk. Remember, it's different from regulation risk. Wow. Let's keep moving, ski daddies, and let's see who's on top. Humphrey, you're on top. Well done, Shania, Bowie, Jay, and Hazil. Let's keep this moving. All right, 2 out of 15. We've got 5 minutes to go. One reason regulators are against Diem is the fear of money laundering, given that Diem will be used pseudonymously. Oh man, if I can say that, I would get a Academy Award. True or false? True. We've got 19. Yes, that's amazing. Everyone's correct. Wow, that's amazing. It happens very rarely. That means I'm teaching you something. So that's fantastic. Maybe that's recency because we just talked about that. That is amazing. So everyone gets that right. Everyone advances on to get you all over 10,000. Dozens of private companies are against Diem because they will lose their monetary powers. These are private companies. Be very, very careful here. Private. We're not talking about regulators here. Private companies, not regulators. Be aware. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Oh, you missed it. You were too fast. I know we talked about losing monetary power. We did talk about that, Emily. We talked about public finance and all of that, but this is private companies are against. So be careful. That was a trick question. So let's keep moving here. Number 4, why did Temasek join Diem Association, even though it is a state-owned investor? Why? I made that very, very, very clear. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's crank this thing. 10 answers, 11, 12. Let's move this thing. Faster, 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 faster. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. 11. Okay, Singapore dollar. I made that very, 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 very clear. Okay, yes, you could say all of the above, but Singapore dollar was a very, very critical one. All right, those that had 1 and 1, the orange and the blue were, yeah, okay, but then if you're going to do that, then it's more likely to be 6, to be the green one. All right, a bit of bad luck there, a bit tricky. The correct answer was the more correct of the second one. The second one was correct, but not as correct. Technology companies would join Diem Association since Diem would be affect them positively. It will affect them positively. Remember what I talked about? I talked about not regulation risk, or did I talk about regulation risk? Yes, I did talk about regulation risk here. So be very, very careful. Regulation risk is a negative thing, not a positive thing. So obviously, technology companies are going to join. No, they're not going to join because Diem will not affect them positively. Okay. So that's definitely a false statement. Well, double negative. You could sort of argue in court that maybe it's still true, but it's not the best answer. Who will be the most affected players by Diem? Who will be most affected? I think you've got this. This is very, 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 very easy. All right, because the banks are real players. The others, it's more regulation risk. You remember that? Regulation risk that affects big companies, but the banks, they can be large, small, medium. We've got 18. That is amazing. 18 of you got this right. So I think that's a good start. But the next time there's a similar question, I want all of you on site here doing this. Look at this. Jay is at top. Jay has a streak with 6 correct answers in a row. Maybe we get Jay to do the tutorial next week. What do you think, Jay? Maybe just scrub that. Let's just check with Mazit first. Low volatility will benefit citizens with unstable currencies. Come on, let's get this one. Remember, stablecoin. Of course, remember we talked about stablecoin. That's opposite Bitcoin. Bitcoin is store of value. Diem is supposed to be more like a stablecoin, medium of exchange, and that's especially important for citizens in unstable currencies like Venezuela, like Zimbabwe. Okay, let's keep moving here. Let's keep moving this faster. Jay, you're still on top. Highest answer streak of 7. Oh, if you can get 10 in a row, you're definitely a tutor next week. Okay, quiz, let's go. Which of these are the benefit if Diem were to be approved? Which one? Come on, let's get this right. Come on, I want everyone to get this right. Be very, very careful. Careful. It's a benefit. So high volatility is not a benefit. Come on, we got to get this right. The others had high volatility, so you cannot say that that is a benefit. High volatility is a curse for any currency, all right, if they're going to be a stable coin. Okay, high volatility is with Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is sexy. Why? Because it's a store of value. People don't mind the high volatility of Bitcoin for that purpose. Okay, Jay, wow, what happened? Did Jay get it? Zichi making a comeback 3 in a row. That is amazing. Followed by Alan, Emily, Bowie. Great effort, guys and girls. And now we're at nearly 7,000. Can we get you over 10,000? Let's keep moving here. Yes, you can, because there's 6 questions yet left. Diem offers financial inclusion of the unbanked. Which of this is needed to use Diem? Be very, very clear here. We made it very, very clear in our discussion. What happened? You don't need a bank account. You do not need a bank account. We could have had 19 on this one. That would have surpassed all of the other tutes, because there's only one other tute that got all of the answers on 1 correct at any one time. Okay, so if you can get 2, then you'll be the leading tute of them all. Okay, Bowie, you've moved up. Well done. Emily, what happened? Did you get that one wrong? I don't. What happened? Did you
slower?
Did you get that right or wrong?
Got it right. My answer is slower.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, let's keep moving here. One disadvantage is data privacy and security. Which of the following users' information can be accessed by Diem? Now, I'm looking for Emily to move up now and for others to move up to the leaderboard. Which of the following users' information can be accessed by Diem? Okay, 15 of you. Actually, really, all of you in the tutorial, you're doing very, very well. The majority of 3/4 or more are getting the correct answer every question, which is amazing. So you're going to get you over 10,000 points. If we can get you over 10,000, this is amazing. I think the highest score so far is just over 12,000. Jay, you're up there. We need to get you over 10,000. Alan, Bowie, Emily, Zichi, we're counting on you. And Tandy, I want you to make a comeback. And Chingwei, you too, you're in this too. So come on, let's go. True or false? Diem's blockchain will be permissionless. Let's make this work. Diem, I did mention this. I did talk about this very clearly. So let's be very, let's get this right. Let's get 19 on the one side. 19. Come on, 19. Oh, what are we doing? Neil, you're not teaching effective enough. They're not learning from you. Neil, Mazet, please forgive me. Okay, all right, I'll try my best today. All right, 13, it's definitely false. Remember, the Bitcoin is going to be permissionless. Diem, the association, it's permission. Remember, Diem is controlled. Bitcoin is out of control, okay, from the banks and regulators' point of view, okay, in some ways. You can look at it that way. Let's keep moving here. Who moved up? Bowie, another great move. Jay, we're looking for you here.
But sir,
yes,
sorry,
quick.
but
Yes.
Diem claimed that they will initially be permission and after that become permissionless, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like in the future.
But you got to talk. It's permission at the moment. Whether it become actually, it tell me in 2 years' time, I don't think Diem will exist. Okay, so forget about what they say about the future. Never trust whatever what anyone says about the future. All right. You just,
Okay.
all right. The present is all that matters. But good point. Very, very, very good point. And noted for that. That's excellent. Let's keep moving. Got 12 out of 15. Let's move. Diem Wallets has a plan to introduce returns at a later stage. However, this will increase systematic risk even larger. Be careful. This is a finance question. So systemic risk can be affected by any little changes to the financial system. All right. Only a micro change can increase systemic risk. So therefore, yes, you got it. Oh, this is super, super. That is 2 questions that everyone got correct. That is amazing. You have beat all of the other tutorials so far. All right, let's keep moving. Let's finish this up. A couple of questions going, and I'm so excited. Which of these existing players will be affected most by Diem? Which one? Please, let's get, you know the way, you know the answer. You know the answer. Please get this answer right. I want 19. Come on. Come on. Who's going to be affected most? Come on. 2 more. One more. Oh, no, please. What are we doing here? It's a bank. So I thought I made it very, very clear. Because Diem doesn't need a bank, so therefore existing players like banks are going to be affected the most. Okay. And you might say mobile money transfers are affected. Not so much because they're already equipped to do stuff with or without banks. And that's our next question. I think our last question or second last question. So 10,500, Jay, Bowie, Alan, we need to get you over 11,000. True or false? Diem will have an advantage and scale up more than the other apps. It will have an advantage and it'll be able to scale up. Remember, what is the platform that Diem is on? There's a hint there. There's a hint there. There's a hint. I cannot tell you any more. You should be able to get this very, very, very easy. True. Look, the platform is Facebook. Facebook has how many billions of users around the world? Okay. All right. So largest platform, so scale up very, very, very easy, especially unbanked population. Bowie, you're up 11,300. That is amazing. Alan, we need to get you over 11,000. Jay, get you up. Humphrey, Emily's on the straight in the top 5. This is fantastic. Emily, you've been paying attention. That is amazing. Last question. Diem have the least effect on mobile money transfer services such as M-Pesa. I just mentioned, I gave you a hint to that 2 questions ago. So just be very, very careful about this one. It will have the least effect compared to M-Pesa. That means if this is true, then it's going to have more effect on something else. Or if it's false, then it's going to have more effect on M-Pesa. All right. It's going to have the least effect on M-Pesa. Let's be very clear here. M-Pesa already doesn't need a bank. So therefore, another competitor comes along and doesn't need a bank. Well, look, M-Pesa already has its ecosystem. You see what I mean? You with me? So M-Pesa is already ready to compete. So Diem is going to have the biggest effect on banks. It's going to have the biggest effect on mobile money transfer service providers who are connected to a bank. M-Pesa is not connected to a bank, so therefore M-Pesa is already the first mover. All right. So trick question. So that's probably why many of you may have struggled with that. I know some of you got to go to another tute, but 2 last things. Here is our final one. Alan, well done. 10,700. That is super. Bowie, yes. 11,000. And Jay. Where's Jay? Who's Jay? Wait a minute. Is that a pseudonymous? Bit of KYC here. We need some KYC here. Where's Jay? Jay, can I? Jay, is that Jason? Is it? Is that your pseudonym?
Yeah.
That's your pseudonym. Be very, very careful if you are going to be pseudonymous in the future. Whenever you want to be on the platform and be recognized, then you really cannot reveal yourself. You know what I mean? So, but we know Jay, Jason, we get that. All right. Very well done. Great effort. Happy to give you feedback on how everyone went. but not right now. I'll just, we can actually back to the podium. But what I want to show you now is I need you all to do the quiz, and I'm going to share that with you now. Okay. And very, very important. Feedback. It's feedback for you. You did that in my week 3 class. I'm just going to shorten the URL, put it in the chat room. If you can just put some brief feedback, how you felt today, anything, and questions, always good to be with you and to share the latest things happening in fintech. So this is just a fantastic day. The big issues, just to take away today, as you're writing in, I've just given the feedback form. Can you all click on that and give feedback after the tute? Really appreciate that. The big issues to take away is that this is not about Diem. And where's my Diem? What happened? Did I throw it away? No, there it is. Diem, like the Diem, this could be gone in 2 years' time and no longer exists. So you see me in the street in 2 years' time. O'Connor, why did you waste 1 week in the fintech unit teaching us about something that doesn't exist? That was the wrong thing. Your eyes shouldn't be on Diem. Your eyes should be on all of these stakeholders that are watching Diem, the banks, the consumer, the big tech, the regulators, all right? And that's what today's tute was all about. That is, why do regulators, why are they concerned? Why are the banks concerned? Why are the consumers happy? And why are the big tech staying away from it? All right. And so then the big summary you take away from that is that it's because of reputation risk, because of regulation risk, because of the loss of power, because of the loss of identity. Okay. And then from the consumer point of view, they love this. Why? Low transaction fees. And I do not need a bank. So, different stakeholders have different incentives and different advantages and disadvantages associated with this little thing. So in 2 years' time, there could be another thing pop up and Diem go away. And we'll have the same tutorial looking at why does regulators like it? Why do consumers like it? Why do big tech like it? Why do banks like it or don't like it? You see? So the takeaway from this tutorial is not so much that you know more about Diem, but that you understand more about the challenges of bringing a new business model into this world. And that goes into your project where you start to think about a business model and start to propose a business model. And then today's tutorial is to help you think about, well, if I do this business model to help, fill this gap that's not out there in the community, what will the regulators think? Will this benefit consumers? Will the banks support me? And are there big tech players like Grab that may stop me from doing what I'm doing? That's what this tutorial is really about. And I really hope that you can take that, bring that into your project and really feel that you got 110% out of this tutorial. What do you think? Okay, so I appreciate if you give some feedback. And I said at the end, someone said, I don't know. A final story, when I was interviewed for my job at Monash, and this was in 2017, they said, and there was a panel, international panel, Melbourne and in Monash, all professors, and, just like a Zoom call, just like this. And I'm in Hong Kong because I was leaving my job in Hong Kong, coming to Malaysia. And they said, you've got lots of experience. You've taught in China, Fudan University, taught at Hong Kong U, City U, and Baptist University. You've taught at National University of Singapore, one of the top universities in the region, apart from Monash. And then you've taught in Australia. And so, but the Malaysian students, they're different, they're different. And, how do you know that you will not fail? And when you come and teach at Monash in Sunway, Bandar Sunway. And my response was, I said, you're right, I might fail. But my whole life is all about taking risk and growing and never stop learning. And I know that if I get into Monash, I will make sure I don't fail. And just because I haven't been there before and taught Malaysian students doesn't mean that I cannot learn how to do it. And in the end, the head of school, after they appointed me, and by the way, at the end of the interview, they said to me, "Oh, what is there one thing? Any last comment you want to say?" I said, "Yeah, one thing. There are two types of professors out there. There's the one that goes into their office, does research, closes their door, and doesn't want to be bothered by students. Then there's another professor that is continually learning, wants to innovate, wants to change things, and wants to really transform students' lives. I'm the second professor. So if you want a traditional professor, then don't hire me. If you want the other one, that's who I am." And then they just said, "Oh, thank you very much, Neil. We'll get back to you." And so I think 1 or 2 weeks later, they got back to me and said, "We want to hire you." So that was my story when going to Monash. But when my advice to you when you're doing a job interview is, if you don't know something, say, "I don't know, but I will find out," or "I don't know, but I will find a way." You with me? And it's okay to say you don't know. It's okay. It's better. That's better than being silent in a job interview. Okay. So never feel that you have to know everything going into a job interview. And it's better to do what I did and come across as being honest and being authentic. And then they get to know you more. And then you don't have to make up to be someone you're not. The head of school, after I got appointed, we had discussions, got to know each other very well after I joined Monash. And this was back in 2018. He said, "Neil, we were talking about reflecting on the interview I went through." And he said, "The big thing that we noticed about you, Neil, and why we hired you was that you came across as just being so honest and authentic. Like, you didn't make up anything, and you didn't profess to be something that you weren't. You didn't say that you're expert at teaching Malaysian students. You just came out and said, I might fail." And right. So just a little lesson for you. Don't feel you have to know everything, and always learning. How about that? Was that helpful for you? What do you think? Hi. And I just have thoroughly enjoyed being in these tutorials with you, and the 4 tutorials yesterday. It's just so much fun. So thank you. Thank you. I feel you give more to me. You turn your video on. I just feel so much admiration in that way. So appreciate that. Thank you so much. If you can give some feedback in the form, and maybe I'll see you next week, depending how Dr. Mazet is feeling. But whether you see me or not next week, your tutorial exercise for next week, you will see me, because you have to watch some of the interviews I did with crowdsourced startups. So I'll try and drop in on the tutorial next week anyway. Okay. So I wish you have a lovely day. Have a lovely weekend. Stay positive, and put your videos on. It makes a huge difference. And all of you are going to be so job ready because you're doing this FinTech unit. It makes a huge difference that we created this FinTech unit to make you job ready for this purpose. So, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank
Sir.
you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Sir,
Hi.
I have a question. Like, I want to double confirm, like, since you say that Diem is a disruptor, so can I relate it as, because it will like affect the balance sheet of the bank side? Like when the user, like they transfer the bank money to Diem, which means that the amount will be removed from the bank balance sheet. So the bank liquidity decreases. Meanwhile, the user is moving his deposit, so-called like the liability side, into the digital currency, leaving the consumer loans and an overdraft unchanged. So as the result, the bank would have to reduce their asset side, which means reduce the loan of the bank balance sheet to make it tally with the liability side.
Yeah, I like very technical reason you're given then. So very well explained. But when you give an explanation like that, then you need to summarize it with a one clear statement. Okay. And so a clear statement to summarize what you're saying is that banks will basically just lose the business. They'll basically, and banks are in the asset business. That's all. All right. Banks make more money when they have more assets under control. They make less money when they have less assets under control. And all you're saying is, well, when Diem comes in, it's likely banks will have less assets under their control. That's it. Keep it simple. But that's exactly what you're saying. So it's the same thing.
So it's just like it will lose the part of income, is it?
Absolutely. Well, and also they'll lose on remittances. When I send money from my Malaysian bank account to my Hong Kong bank account, HSBC takes a little bit of the cut because I have to change from ringgit to Hong Kong dollar. And they always take out 1+ little % for every dollar I send. And HSBC don't do anything for me and they get this cut. Why should they do that? You know? So there's a lot of different ways they're going to lose on the top line. They're going to lose on their assets under management. So think about in terms of top line. Top line is always the revenue, and then assets under management, that's the balance sheet. Always think in terms of profit and loss and balance sheet. Profit and loss, it's always about the top line. The balance sheet, it's all about assets under management.
Oh, okay.
Very good.
Thank you,
Very
sir.
good question.
So I have a question regarding the group assignment.
Sure.
Okay, so our group have already conducted the interview with Phenology, but towards the end of the interview, he asked if we could share the completed report with him, and we said yes. So just wanted to inform you and ask you if we can do that.
Okay, just back up a little bit. Just run that by me again, Hazel. Sorry.
Okay, so we have already interviewed our co-founder of the company.
Good.
Yeah, and we are happy with the results. And with the end of the thing, when he was asking us about our assignment, we told him that it's for a report that we want to submit. And he asked if he can have a copy of that report.
Yes.
So
yes, of course.
So we can send to him.
Oh yeah, actually,
okay.
I would encourage you to send the report to them, even if they don't ask for it, because that may create a job opportunity for you.
Right. Okay.
No, I'm serious. That is exactly what you should be doing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Don't wait for them. Don't wait for them to ask you. Okay. Seriously. You're engaging industry. They help you. You do a report. You're doing proof of work. You send it back to them. That means you've had 2 big touch points with them. Is that right? When you first engaged, got information. The second touch point is you gave them something. Wow. What do you think? Do you think they're going to be impressed or not impressed?
Well, we haven't started on the report yet, but
no, but I'm just saying it doesn't matter. But at least you go back to them a second time. But just think, if you go first time, you take from them, and then they never hear from you again, they're just going to forget about you. All right. So you're closing the loop. You're closing the loop. They give you something, you give something back. You close the loop. They're going to remember you. Right. And then you join them on LinkedIn. You go on to LinkedIn and say, thank you so much for participating in our report. I'd like to connect with you. When you connect with them, then you write a recommendation on their LinkedIn saying, Mr. So-and-so was so kind to actually work with us students to help us to understand their business model. And he helped us in 1, 2, and 3 ways. And that recommendation goes public on their LinkedIn profile. Wow. Wow. It's just like, you will have people knocking on your door to employ you. All right. That's how you get a job. All right. Don't wait for a job advert. What do you think?
Yeah, I somewhat agree.
You will have people just knocking on your door. You just be a little strategic like this, you create that touch point, you work on that touch point, you keep working it. So you talked about the second touch point. First touch point, you get information, you write the report. Second touch point, you give the report back. Third touch point, you connect with LinkedIn. Fourth touch point, you write them a recommendation on their LinkedIn profile. And if it's nice and positive, they'll accept it and then it goes public. Wow, that's 4 touch points. Touch points, that's what gets you the job. How many of you want a job? Right, that's we're in the business, right? I think I need to have a town hall with all students. I need to talk to all students about these strategies because there's so much you can do. You're stuck at home, but there's so much you can do in front of your computer. All right. And we're going to help you get there. So if you need any more help, if you want to have a town hall, just reach out to Mirzut, tell him to organize one. I will organize just for how to get a job, how to maximize your job opportunities and things like that. What do you think? How's that? Kendra, is that cool? Bowie, what do you think?
Yeah.
Cool, huh? Yeah. Have you all been to Hong Kong? Any of you been to Hong Kong?
No.
It's a cool place. It's a cool place.
Yes, right? I've been once.
Yeah, I'm in Lai Chi Kok. That's about 6 kilometers. 6 kilometers north of Chim Cha Choi, which is on the. There you go. There's a good view of and right down the end. Chim Cha Choi is about 6 kilometers away, and in the last 3 years, see that building in front of the camera? Those 2 buildings, they weren't there. They were just built in 3 years. Just crazy. Yeah. Anyway. What I'll do is just out of fun. So you all know my YouTube address, yes or no? You know I have a YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, Tech Asia. All right. So you probably know that from the interviews and things like that. All right. So in there's actually a video of time-lapse photography of those buildings being built over 3 years. Just crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Thank you, Diem, for today. You say bye-bye to Diem, and maybe we'll see you next week. I'll try and drop in, even though if Mirzut's there, I'll drop in if you want me to drop in. Or, if I have to take it, then I don't want that to happen because we want Mirzut to get better. But if I have to, happy to help. Always around. We want to make Fintech the best unit in the whole school. And I keep telling Mirzut that it is the best. We've got 170 students. There's no reason why, and that's an elective. It's the largest student number in an elective out of the whole school, which is, I think, is amazing. But we don't stop there. We won't stop till you all get a job and you all are radically transformed. What do you think? Do you think you have a good weekend? All right. If you're really interested in what I listened to this morning, I'll just show you very quickly. I listened to this podcast, and it is an amazing podcast, Data Science. And he interviewed this guy that worked for Coca-Cola. Then he learned, he was interested in, is learning Tableau. Do you know Tableau? Tableau is just like a supercharged Excel. Anyway, Facebook found out all the things that he was doing great as a data person and presenting all these data reports, not, high-end data analytics or coding, but more just showing graphical reports that Tableau does. And then they hired him. And then I think several years later, then this crowd from London said, oh, we want you to come across and set up a center where we teach people data analytics. And he's just doing what he loves. So the actual podcast I actually listened to this morning, it was just very inspiring because the future is in data analytics. Fintech, of course, Fintech is one area where data analytics has taken hold. But I'm just saying that, these are things to listen to and be inspired with. Okay. and it can make a huge difference in your future career. Yeah. And so when I give a town hall, I want to give a town hall of students. I want to talk about, and did you know that our accounting department, which is starting a double major, well, we're telling all our accounting students to do a double major now, that is accounting and business analytics. And now if you're in finance, you're like doing this fintech unit is probably the best thing you could ever do, because it actually opens your eyes to just things outside of the traditional finance area, which is very, very important for you to do. So it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so send me a email or anything, the feedback, and happy to help. And if you do have a chance, send an email through to Mazert to wish him well, and that he will get well soon. I think he would love to hear from you students doing that. So thank you. Love you all. Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.
So,
Welcome. Most welcome.